Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hey, Cobwebs Cavern, welcome to the stream, man. I got a new book, or my wife got a new book, more specifically. I'm not sure how many people will be in here to start out with because the Corey and Jimmy live stream is still going on. Is the audio okay? It is a masterclass book. It is Blair's Biotypes. This is Biotopes by Heiko Blair. Expeditions to aquatic habitats, aquatic biotopes in nature, and biotope aquariums. The reason that we have, hey Fishman, welcome to the stream, and you have a happy new year too. The reason that we have this book is due to Lucas's live stream at AE, the 6-hour live stream that he did where he was walking all over AE and looking at stuff, and Heiko Blair himself, I'm so jealous, came up to Lucas and when Lucas was near the table where Heiko's books were, there was a bunch of these books out on the table, and Cobwebs, I can't recommend anyone more to go see. Heiko is not your normal star of the fish world. He is in some ways cantankerous. In some ways he is you would just have to spend time around Heiko and watch him and go to his talks to understand that I'm trying to say that Heiko is very difficult to pigeonhole. Heiko has spent his whole life going out into the wild and capturing new fish and studying habitats. And there's just very few people in the world that have the ability to do that, that have the wherewithal to do that, and have the scientific frame of mind to go do those sorts of things. And this is a book that I wanted immensely when it first came out, but I just knew that it was too much money to spend on a book, and then tell my wife I spent $140 on a fish keeping book, and she would roll her eyes at me and tell me that I was grounded for a month on spending money for fish keeping stuff. I talked to her about it, but it kind of went in one ear and out the other for her. And then she saw Heiko talking to Lucas on Lucas's live stream about the book. And he was showing Lucas, yeah, Fishman, you're probably dead on with that remark. Fishman says probably just happier around fish than us humans. And I think that Heiko, and this is just pure conjecture on my part, but just from watching him, just from seeing how he is in the pictures in the wild, I think he's probably a lot happier around native people living in a hut that catch these fish to sell to the aquarium trade hobby, or that catch these fish to eat them for food, and they have more to offer to Heiko than most of us in the fish keeping hobby do, because we don't understand fish habitats like Heiko understands fish habitats. And this is a book that I would strongly recommend to anyone that has the money to buy it. It's come way down in price. I didn't have the money on me at the Aquatic Experience stream, Aquatic Experience Live, to actually buy the books that were on the table. And so I told my wife that we would order that book. That this is a book that I had wanted long ago when I was first setting up my L260 tank, because I felt like, cobwebs. Eric Bodrock says that, be the fish. And he's right, because that's the only way we're really going to be able to care for our fish properly, is by recognizing how they thrive, what kind of setups they thrive in. And this book, Blair's Biotypes, offers as good a here, let me drop back into my program and give you a full screen, not so much of my ugly mug, but of the actual, and let's see how the book looks. My lighting in this room is kind of strange. I basically have a light over my keyboard so that I can see, and sometimes it lights stuff up well and sometimes it doesn't. But this is a book about the native habitats of fish, period. It is just not, see, look at the glare. I have to fiddle around with this LED light. Okay, so if you look at this book from the end view, you will see that it is color coded. And you can't really see that. Well, Cobweb Caverns, I would highly recommend that you go to Heiko Blair's own site and that you buy it there, because it has come way down in price. I think we got this for, it was £69 or 69 euros. His home residence is in Italy, so it took 8 weeks for it to ship here, but we got it for about $95. And even though the color coding didn't come through on the showing you the end of the book, I'm just going to open it to individual pages and let you see how this book is set up. So these, obviously this is a page in the Asian section, and it's set up in such a way that you can see that the heading says how to do it in aquaria. So for this example, the Maravambe River in India, it says that you need a 500-liter aquarium, and it gives a location dot. This biotype is very beautiful and still not as polluted and destroyed as many other aquatic habitats in this part of India. It has clear water with a slight flow, and in some areas it is rich in aquatic vegetation, including along its shoreline. This is why I was able to find a large variety of species living here in harmony. They have a place to find microorganisms and both aquatic and terrestrial insects. Such an untouched biotope offers ample breeding grounds for many species and protection for their young. In addition, I found no aquatic predators in this river biotype. As shown, its bed was full of reddish gravel. The fishes that he has added to that tank: 10 Borillus species, 12 Haludaria fasciata, 12 Sayadria Densonii, 4 Punctus Maecola, 12 Pythia naranii, 6 Deverio malabarish. I'm butchering these Latin names, sorry. 6 Danio ririo, 6 Danio dangila, 6 Danio meghalensis, 12 Garagotola, 20 Nemachilus densonii, 30 Carotetrodon Travancoricus, 6 Tetradon I can't even pronounce it, and 5 Apelaceous lanitas. The plants are Limnophilia indica, Ilocaris acularis, hydrocotyle, Cibithopeodes, Hygrophila stricta, also Myrophyllum, Nymphae, and Marsilia species live here. Decor materials: fine silica sand and small 2 to 4 millimeter reddish gravel. Some shale or quartz rocks, one larger and a couple of smaller driftwood pieces well watered. The chemical water parameters in this biotope were pH 6.61, the conductivity around 51, and temperatures from 28.4, in winter a little less. Filter, light heater, and other suggestions. The filter must have a slow flow, as these species live in a slow current habitat. Use a good canister filter. The light should not be too strong all over the tank, but if one insists, have a decor similar to what I have done with the rocky area where the loaches and the gar can find their niche, and add some floating plants as in nature. The heater must be good enough to control the temperature for winter down to about 24 Celsius. And he goes on with comments. I don't want to read too much of it because I know that copyright violation can get me. I'm just bringing this book up to tell you that this book is one that I have always wanted. And when my wife decided that she had to have it for rainbow habitat information, I was overjoyed that she wanted it for a Christmas present. So indirectly, I got a book that I wanted because my wife finally decided to want it. And I would highly recommend going to his website, where the price was much reduced. When this book originally came out, it was around 150, 160 bucks. And happy Hogmanay to you too, Cobwebs Cavern. Yeah, if you could make it to that club convention and get it signed by Heiko himself, that would be high on my list for things to do. Yes, and Cobweb says organized by region. Nice, so you pick an area that you like the look of, and it gives you the escaping ideas and suggested stocking men. Yes, and it is broken down into, of course, uh, Africa, South America, Asia, North America, and it breaks it down by rivers and lakes, and Central America is also included. And of course, the section I want to spend an immense amount of time. Fishman asked me, how goes the planning for your trip? I've been so afraid to spook or to mess this up. I want to go so desperately that I have yet to buy my plane tickets. I have paid $500 on the $1,600 total that I need to pay in. I have to get about getting my passport renewed. I have to get my shots, if I need any, to go to Peru, and I need to get my plane tickets, my itinerary, and all of that stuff down. And then the last thing I'll do is pay the rest of my ticket price, not plane tickets, but the ticket for the actual trip itself. We've just gone through Christmas, and I went to AE. All of those things pretty much sapped our resources. Bought this book for my wife. All those kinds of things sapped our resources. So while I have been doing some saving and some money income towards this trip, we're still going to have to save for a month or two before I'll be able to pay the total of the hey Valley Fish, welcome to the stream, man. Cobwebs Cavern says hit that like button, folks. I'm more than happy to get likes. I know I've been doing some things lately with my record, my vinyl community output. That's probably ticking off some of the people that watch my channel or have subscribed to my channel for fish keeping stuff alone. I have to finish getting this perfect side stuff done, and I'm still trying to gain functionality with my new lens on my camera. I've been taking pictures and trying. Hey JH Aquatics, welcome, man. If anybody doesn't know JH Aquatics, you need to go check him out right now. Drop my stream, go to JH's channel and check out Fish Fam News. Check out his wonderful content that he's producing down there in non-electric Peru. I think the Fuhrer, Josh, is finally building in the United States. That's still over 50% of the American state of Puerto Rico is without electricity, going on 4 months after the hurricane, double whammy hurricane hit. And I have to think that pretty soon someone's butt's going to be in the fire about this and slowly roasted on a spit. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but it just strikes me that it is. Hey, Daryl Deemer, welcome to the stream, man. I'm effusing about the new book that my wife got for one of her Christmas presents, which is Blair's Biotypes. I've talked at length about it. If you want to know more, please rewatch the stream. I don't know, I spent about 15 minutes talking about the book. I'll show it again It is a very expensive fish keeping book. I could buy almost 3 L260s for the price of this book. But it is an incredibly wonderful book from a man who knows fish keeping better than everybody on YouTube put together. So I would strongly recommend, if it is within your budget. Hey JP Hoare, welcome to the stream, man. If it is within your budget, and it's still almost $100, even though it has come down in price a great deal. But it is a phenomenal book, and one that I would recommend to anyone who has the finances to be able to afford it and to go out and purchase a copy of it. And like I said, I'd strongly recommend going to Heiko's Italian website, where his home is, and picking that up. And Cobwebs wants us all to come to Scotland tomorrow night. The teleportation tubes aren't open yet, so I'm probably going to have to pass on going to Scotland tomorrow night. I am going to go out and watch The Last Jedi today with a buddy of mine. He bought one of those $10 watch a movie a day passes for the year. And I think it's $10 a month. And you can go to a movie every day. So he's going to go with me to watch The Last Jedi, which he's already seen. I've heard massive discontent. And Cobwebs says, if you can't do that, have a whiskey instead. And I'll raise a glass to that. Unfortunately, my glass is going to have Gatorade in it, but I'll drink to that. I'm looking forward to seeing The Last Jedi because I've heard so many people say so many. You're not going to spoil me any worse than all the. Hey, Lord Vader, welcome to the stream. And it goes fine. I hope everyone has had a wonderful Christmas holiday and is looking forward to New Year's. Yeah, Cobweb says it's a great film. I thought it was well done and made some good tweaks to the expected lines. That's what I've heard. The purists, the Star Wars purists, are up in arms about it because they've killed, talking about Star Wars and Lord Vader appears. How apropos. The purists are all up in arms because they've killed the franchise by doing this movie. So just that alone makes me want to go watch it. And all the hubbub and all that I've heard about it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know. You'll have to tune back in later for what my actual reaction to it is. I just I'm looking forward to it. I don't really have an axe to grind today, other than I wanted to gloat about having Heiko Blair's book. Yes, that's what I'm hearing, is that I'll feel the power of the dark side. I hear there are some unusual let the force be with you instances with Princess Leia. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, back to 500 ways to be a better fish keeper. Since no one sued me, I'm going to continue doing this. I hope that they've sold a few copies of the book in my effort to get information out. And in Under Better Aquascaping, tip 222, Simulate the effect of sunlight overhead. To recreate the appearance of sunlight through patches of overhead vegetation, use some carefully positioned spotlights to focus lights onto specific areas of the tank. You can use this method to highlight features such as a piece of wood or a specimen plant. Just be careful if you have a small tank, as spotlights can get very hot and easily overheat smaller tanks. Yeah, I'm glad they put that caveat in there. Hey, doll. I'm right in the middle of a live stream. Oh, I've already done that one? Oh my gosh. Okay. Under Better Aquariums, number 44. What are the odds of me having done the same one twice? What, I've done about 15 of these? Number 44. What is the best location for air pumps? Place air pumps above water level to prevent back siphoning if the power fails. Never rest them on the hood where their vibrations will upset the fish, and you, as any noise will be amplified. The best place for air pumps is hanging on a secure hook in the wall behind the tank or on a shelf with raised edges so they cannot fall off as they vibrate. Hey, Island Queen, welcome to the stream. J.H. Aquatic says he likes to use the mini LED spots off Amazon. Yeah, I've had some good luck with those. I will admit that for our 20-gallon baby tank, which was our quarantine tank up until we discovered that it had babies in it, I will admit that I purchased 2 cheap lights off eBay that really didn't cut the mustard. They just were really the light intensity wasn't enough. It just didn't work out. I'll probably use them as a red light booster in some other tanks, or I've got a 10-gallon that I need to set up, and I'll try it over the 10 and see if that lights up a 10-gallon enough. But yeah, I would be very careful on smaller tanks not to overheat them. But hey, Victor, welcome to the stream, man. I have had a long and varied experience with air pumps. I have never bit the bullet. Hey, Laura, welcome to the stream. I have never bit the bullet and done a fish room in the sense of getting a large piston pump and running it to add air to all my tanks. I've always done it with small air pumps and a great variety of those. I was a big proponent of the very large Whispers way back in the day. I rebuilt about 5 or 6 of them over and over. At some point, rebuilding air pumps like the big Whispers, what was it, a 600 or an 800? Can't remember the actual number on the top of the thing now, but at some point that loses its ability to actually keep doing good, and the pump itself just becomes useless. But I've tried all kinds of different ways and different methods, and some air pumps are really bad about vibrating. That little blurb from 500 Ways to Be a Better Fish Keeper gives you the little bit about putting it on a shelf with a whip so that it doesn't vibrate off. Some air pumps will move miles if you're not careful with them. their vibration and the little rubber legs that they sit on to deaden vibration will act like legs, and they will get up and walk. Hey, Superstar, welcome to the stream. We're just in a general chat here. I will wax on and on about some minutia, or unless you guys ask me questions. Cobweb Cavern says, okay, there was a 3% chance of reading a tip that you had already read out. However, that doesn't take into account any damage to the book spine that might make a page more likely to be opened. I think that's probably very true. It was also on the top corner of a page, so it was the first thing that caught my eye. I'm glad you caught me doubling up. I don't need to do that. Superstar is asking me how I am. I'm old, I'm crotchety, I'm cranky, I'm all of those wonderful descriptors for geezerdom, and yet I'm perfectly happy. I hope you are having a wonderful holiday season yourself, and everything is fine with you and yours, and that goes out to everybody. I really hope that in this somewhat pressurized season that you can find a way to, if not enjoy, at least come to terms with your fellow man and appreciate them for what they offer, much less family and loved ones. Well, Cobweb Caverns, kudos to you. And I see here that I have yet to wrench you. You are now wrenched. My original wall of wrenches has not... I've lost a lot of my older viewers, and I can understand why, but I'm having to crank back up the wrenching. So now you can bash everybody but V-Stag and a couple of the other oldsters that show up every now and then. Valley Fish. My first live stream, I just punched everybody that was in the live stream. I thought that was... Hey, Nisi. Hey, Lumpy Dog. I'm glad both of you are lurking. I so much enjoy that I am able to offer some value to people that they can just listen to. I mean, I'm not much to look at, so I don't mind you not watching. Aphin's Fish Forum. I always want to add a L to everything in the F.
Have they seen Smokey recently?
I'm not sure if they've seen him since he's gotten so big. Here is your update on the size of Smokey the cat. You can see him biting his mama there. Smokey, look into the camera. He is... I made up a little ditty about Smokey. I have a cat named Smokey. He loves to cradle in my arms. He's a monster, but it's okie dokie. He gets by on his charms. He wants down.
Yeah.
That's your weekly update on the growth rate of Smokey the cat. No, Nisi, I'm more than happy for people to lurk and listen. That warms the cockles of my heart. Hey, Dank Tanks, welcome to the stream. And Lumpy, yeah, he is a sweet baby boy when he's sleeping. The rest of the time, The rest of the time, he is a monster. We've picked a cat that has turned into a royal pain in the patootie, as they say. But he's a teenager now. You know, it only takes a couple of months for a cat to become a teenager. And you've got to expect those kind of things when a cat is in its teenage age. It's just, it's, how old is Smokey now?
Well, Smokey was born in August, so he's what, 4 or 5 months?
4 or 5 months, my wife says. So he's definitely a teenager now, and soon will be a full-grown cat. And we're hoping with age he will mellow out a little bit.
He's real sweet and he just bites, that's all.
Yeah, my other cat, my Maine Coon mix, she's a little black cat with all of the markings of a Maine Coon, except that she's black. She has the ruff on her chest, the tufts coming out of her ears, the tufts coming out of her paws, and she has the attitude and personality of a Maine Coon. And they don't really like other cats. They're not a very social creature to other cats. They're social to humans, but not really to cats. Cobweb said he's had a few girlfriends like that. Lumpy Dog says my 55-gallon tank is alive and running, but still cold. Waiting on Amazon to deliver my heater. Getting close now. Awesome, Lumpy Dog. And knock on wood that they deliver you a good heater. I got on, I knew winter was coming and I knew we needed some new heaters. So I got on Dr. Forrester's site and I ordered like 6 heaters from 200 watts down to like 50 watts or 100 watts. And 2 of them have been no good. 2 of them, I plugged them in and they just came on and wouldn't turn off no matter what you did to them. So knock on wood, Lumpy Dog, that you get a decent heater. I mean, these weren't high-end heaters, but they weren't low-end heaters either. And I was really disappointed to have 2 of them go bad out of like 6. So heaters are a trick bag. Heaters will kill your fish. Heaters can save your fish, but don't, it's like walking on ice. Make sure that the ice is thick enough to hold your weight. And if it starts cracking, get the heck off of it. And that's the same thing with heaters. If you start noticing a great deal of condensation within the heater itself, get that thing out of there. Yeah, Lumpy Dog, I would highly recommend that. That you put it in the tank with no fish and run it for a while and see how it goes. But now that you've teased us with a new 55-gallon up and running, what are you going to put in it? What, pray tell, will go in that 55? Because you've teased us with its existence. And how are you going to seed it? Or are you going to just do a cycle, long cycle? So beware, listeners, if you come to my live stream, I may ask you questions. Which is kind of a different... I really, part of me wants to have... it was acquired as a grow out. Part of me wants to have 50 million subscribers and I can sit in my hammock sipping mint juleps while my minions run my channel for me, and I never have to lift a finger, only smile and look pretty. Unfortunately, that's never going to be the case. I'm not interested in the monetary end. I do not monetize my video. And like Laura says, that's good. A live stream is more fun as a conversation. And that's what I really like about this. There's not 600 people in here. There's not 100 people in here. There's not even 75 or 50 people in here, although there are at times. But it still feels like a one-to-one relationship for me. Now, I may, wax on endlessly about something and overlook a comment or a person entering the stream, but mostly I am here to pay attention to who's in here and pay attention to the remarks and the questions that are offered up. And that's the way I like it, to be able to keep up with what's going on in the chat and how many people are actually communicating. And I do want it to be a conversation. So Lumpy Dog says running 2 sponge filters and an Aqua Clear 30 hang-on back. With the holidays, I forgot to seed a sponge filter using established lava rock media in the hang-on back. That'll probably do it. We'll also transfer over a bunch of guppy grass. Yeah, the guppy grass and the lava rock media, as long as the established lava rock gets in there, that should cycle your tank for you. You may have to slowly add fish to build up the bacteria in your tank, but yeah, I'd say that would be fine. I'm a big fan of sponge filters. In the old days, I always ran under gravel filters. Victor, the fact that you like listening and that I am offering you some kind of knowledge to absorb is wonderful to me. I try to get, I try to think about the things that are second nature to me, that I just do by habit, by rote, and see if I can souse them out enough to make it understandable to people that are new to the hobby, so that they learn to make those muscle memory things for themselves when they're doing, things like putting your fingers on the end of the hose when you suck on the hose to get the water flow started to vacuum a tank. If you just put your hand on the end of the hose, then you're not putting your mouth on the end of the hose. And those are the kind of things that I've learned over the years, but it's hard sometimes to make myself say, now do this, now do that, because I'm not thinking about it anymore. I'm just automatically doing it. So I try to do that. I try to think about the things that I do automatically and try to get back to the point when I remembered hearing about those and learning to do that instead of sticking your mouth on a hose that who knows where it's been. You should know where it's been. Lumpy Dog says everything is easy with knowledge and patience. And those are two of the things I hope I stress most importantly. The third leg that I would add, Lumpy Dog, is observation. I think knowledge, observation, and patience will go a huge long way to get you further in this hobby. Cobweb Cavern enjoys a chance of using fish poop as toothpaste when starting a siphon. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. Okay, I was talking about Lumpy Dog's sponge filters. and the fact that I am a convert, a sponge filter convert. They're kind of unsightly and they take up a lot of room in the tank. But in the instances of shrimp keeping, in lots of other instances, the sponge itself offers a place for shrimp or young fish to graze, and it is a really effective way. And unless you've buried that sponge filter in plants and rocks and wood, it's very easy to get that sponge filter out of the tank and clean it rather quickly. I started out using under gravel filters because that's the kind of filtration that we had when I first started keeping tanks. There were very few hang-on backs. There were very few, mostly what they had besides under gravel were those little canister corner filters. And while in some instances I see that those are coming back into vogue, it just got, what we'd usually do. Hey, Sergeant Tanks, welcome to the stream, man. Sergeant Tanks says, I enjoy intellectual conversation. Apparently, in having to dumb it down as it was conveyed, I'm too detailed. You're never too detailed. You are never too detailed, sir. Please continue with the details. Lol, you have to love the interwebs. Apparently, sugarcoating the response is more preferred. Well, I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm not going to sugarcoat the response. I may never make it as an internet star. I may never have 1 million subscribers, but I'm still not going to sugarcoat the response. Susan, welcome to the live stream. Anybody that doesn't know Susan for SLC Aquatics, and that is not Salt Lake City, that is Susan L. Core. And of course, she's never given us the L, but we keep guessing. I didn't get a notification, but thanks to Darcy Island Queen for posting on Facebook. Oh, thank you, Island Queen. I'm not sure why. I've been doing this for about 40 weeks now, and I always do it at the same time. It is 4 o'clock Eastern time, and I always try to go for an hour unless I'm experiencing some kind of severe difficulties, or as in the case last week, my computer decided to reboot itself and do a Windows update, and I couldn't catch it fast enough to stop it from blowing the stream out. And Jeremy says, I know, Dwayne, that's exactly my point. Keep being you. It's all I'm ever going to be, Jeremy. I'm never going to be any other thing than myself. And love me or hate me, I don't really care. Your opinion is just as valid as anyone else's. You're perfectly welcome to dislike me, or 8 p.m. GMT for anyone in Europe. Thank you, Cobwebs Caverns. And Jeremy, Cobwebs Caverns has invited us all to Scotland tomorrow night to celebrate the Hogmanay.
Hey, can we go?
Well, I told him that the teleportation tubes were not in working order yet. And we could get on a plane, but we still wouldn't be there tomorrow night, and you would be so miserable from the plane ride you wouldn't.
I wouldn't have any fun.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any fun anyway. He said it was okay, we could just drink some whiskey and be Scottish in that way. Yikes, 9 p.m. I'm glad that it's at a time that is available for you for you guys to view as well. For those of you that don't know, geez, I've been running full screen all this time, haven't I? Sorry. I know you'd much rather look at my fish than me. For you folks that don't know, I call this the Bob Stream, Bob Show, because Bob decided when spring came around that he was going to be doing a lot of hiking, and therefore his Saturday stream would no longer be working because he would be in the mountains or in the Tains, as we call them down in Knoxville. And so his time was about 6 or 7 o'clock my time, and Bob's going to be on today. Awesome. As long as there's not a Pacers game on, I'll do my best to be there, Nisi. But I forewarn you that even though they're terrible at times, I have been watching my Pacers religiously this year. And it's really hard to watch a game and listen to a live stream, or watch a live stream and listen to a game and pay attention to either one very well. So during basketball season, I've got to admit that I'm going to be paying attention to my Pacers. The one exception will be when I'm doing my live stream. I will forego watching the game for that. And I apologize to any and all in advance. But if you wonder where I am when you're in the middle of doing your live stream, just pop up the NBA schedule and look for the Pacers, and you'll be able to put your finger on where I am. Okay, guys, we're getting down to the end of the stream. I thank you all. Right, Bob's doing his at 8 p.m. and that's what I was meandering on about, was that I named this the Bob Show because Bob said somebody needed to step up and start doing a live stream to take his place. And I decided, well, if I'm going to do a live stream and I'm going to start doing it regularly, I want to do it at a time where even when Bob comes back, I'll still be able to do my live stream. And so I figured 4 o'clock in the afternoon my time would be a pretty good time to do it. And henceforth and for the foreseeable future, that's what I'm doing. Now, I will admit that when I'm in Peru, out on the water, catching fish that no one in the world has ever seen before, nor named, nor described, fat chance of that. But maybe that I will probably not be doing my live stream unless Corey brings enough stuff with him to allow us to live stream.
If you can't, I'll do it.
My wife says she'll do it. Oh, there you go. You've got a live stream promise from my wife for the week that I'm gone. Susan is wishing us all a happy new year. And Susan, we love you all too. And we wish everyone a happy new year. Nisi says she likes my schedule. That's when I'm either cleaning the kitchen or fixing my hair. Well, Nisi, when you are fixing your hair, you need to be paying attention to your hair. And Nisi says, yes, Elaine, please do it.
Oh, well,
and Victor says, yes, I hope she will. That would be great.
I'll be happy to.
And Cobwebs is saying, so is that 1 a.m. for me, Nisi? Yes, that's the one problem with Bob's schedule, is that it's pretty late for those across the pond from us. And Dank Tank says he's the same with his Knicks. Boo, hiss the Knicks. Pacers. Don't make me go get my Pacers hat and put it on. I will. Ugh. I don't wear a ball cap anymore because, as anyone who's watched my videos can see, wearing one for 30 years, working for a living, gave me ball cap baldness. But I got my Pacers hat, man. Yeah, Reggie ain't playing no more. When the previous incarnation of the Pacers went to the finals with Miami, the year that they were up 2-0, and all they had to do was win one home game, and their odds went out of sight. I went, and they were up by 10 points at halftime, and they fell apart in the second half. Of course, LeBron James was a man among boys out there and scored like 40 points, most of it in the second half, and they beat the Pacers. And at the end of the game, I was standing up in my seat screaming, "Where's Reggie? Where's Reggie?" All the guys around me were looking at me like I was from the moon, but we needed Reggie at the end of that game. Anyway, that's where I'll be if I'm not on streams. Yep, 1 a.m. there. So if you miss me in a stream, just look at your NBA schedule and you will know. All right, guys, we're right at the end of the hour. I appreciate everyone for coming. I hope that I've offered something. And once again, I want to flash this book and gloat over owning it. If you can afford it, and this is a highly expensive book, in my opinion, some people can probably afford it easily. If you've got a wealth of cash at hand, buy this book. You will learn more about fish keeping in the pages of this book than anywhere else that I can think of. Blair's Biotopes. It's a remarkable book by a remarkable man, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. It gets the Kitchel seal of approval. Happy New Year's to you too, Nisi, and to everyone in the stream. Thank you for coming and spending an hour of your valuable time with us. Hey, Captain Savage, welcome to the stream, man. You got here just as I'm signing off, but I surely appreciate the showing up, man. Showing up is 90%. All right, guys, stream's over. Have a happy New Year's. Have a safe New Year's. Keep your asses out of trouble. Don't get thrown in jail. Keep it between the lines. Don't drink and drive. I'm reminded of the story of the guy that realized he was too drunk, so he took a cab home and said that it worked a charm, didn't get stopped at any of the police barricades or anything, and he doesn't know what he's going to do with that cab that he stole now. You guys have a happy New Year's.